Welcome into the Devil's Digest postgame show following Arizona State's 91-81 loss against BYU here at Desert Financial Arena. ASU is now 13-15 on the season and 4-13 in Big 12 play, marking the 8th consecutive home loss for Arizona State. As always, I'm Justin Lestertosa. That's publisher Hunter Bino and Hode. It seems like that dark cloud is still kind of hovering over this team, especially with how shorthanded the Sun Devils were tonight. Obviously, BJ Freeman got dismissed just a couple of days ago, and then no Jaden Quaintance, no Austin Mason, and Adam Miller with a couple bumps and bruises and didn't really play to his full potential because of that. What did you see out of ASU with this shorthand lineup?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Justin. I think this was a game where you just figured it could be a very ugly loss for Arizona State, and that did not happen. And we'll talk about that in a few minutes, but just a quick update on the players that you mentioned injured. First of all, on the good news, Adam Miller, who actually did address the media after the game, said he'll definitely be back for the Saturday road game at Utah. Austin Mason, just because it was an illness, there's no reason to believe why he won't be healthy and ready to go 3 nights from now. Jaden Quaintance, that's a more complicated story. He does have a knee injury, so he did not re-aggravate his ankle injury from earlier this year. It actually was a quote-unquote brand new injury to his knee. The severity of that injury is still being determined, but if you ask me, Justin, I really doubt that we'll see Jaden Quaintance play again this season, or even play in the postseason in Big 12 tournament. So ASU definitely was able, to muster as much fire and passion as they could from a very, very shorthanded lineup, and I think they did, pretty well under the circumstances. I feel like it's almost the broken record of saying that there's no moral victories, but at the same time, you can also acknowledge how much fight there is left in this team that's absolutely having a horrible season tonight. But tonight was really no different. I know there are a lot of home games that you could say would have, could have, should have, but I think this one very reminiscent of the game against Houston. You basically were facing a team that talent-wise was just much, much better from you. So with all the 8 consecutive home losses, which becoming quite the narrative, obviously, there definitely were a lot of games that ASU should have put in the W column. But I think that this game, the talent disparity was really too much to miss. And you had a very short-handed Sun Devil team. That was just a bad combination today for Arizona State.
Yeah, and BYU recently just cracked the top 25 at 25 exactly and showed why today in Tempe with the kind of the barrage from three-point land and kind of moving the ball to the fullest potential. What did you see out of BYU as a whole, kind of the team that seems destined to be in that NCAA tournament?
Yeah, it's really hard to see BYU barring a major collapse in the next couple of weeks, not hearing their name called on Selection Sunday. And we just saw a team that puts an absolute offensive clinic. They make 17 three-pointers, and doing that at a 50% clip. In the second half alone, they shot over 63%. They had 21 assists on the night. So I think the ball movement is something that definitely frustrated the ASU defense quite a bit. They were getting caught on screens, getting caught on switches. Richie Saunders, one of maybe the surprise players in the Big 12. Really can call, I guess, the Cougars one of the surprise teams in the Big 12 as well. Had 26 points. I think just showed that he is a legitimate first-round draft pick in the summer. It's funny because I was reading online that some NBA teams are a little leery spending a first-round draft pick on somebody who's 23 years old, like Saunders. And we know that with teams like BYU and Utah, for that matter, when you have players go on mission, then yes, you do get quite older players compared to the norm. But I think that Richie Saunders is somebody who really came as advertised, much as chagrin probably for ASU fans who are maybe sick of seeing star players from opposing teams really putting on a show over here at DFA. And Richie Saunders just happens to be one of the latest. I don't think BYU played defensively all that well, and we'll talk about it in a minute because we'll talk about the bright spots for ASU. I think some of it has to do with the fact that BYU was not playing that well on that end of the court, but on offense, they did plenty enough, especially with the three-point shooting. It just seemed like, especially in the second half, that every time Arizona State was getting just a little bit of momentum, here comes BYU just lobbing another three. Maybe not a lot of them were contested three-point shots, but nonetheless have to be really impressed with what you saw from the Cougars tonight in that department.
Yeah, and another tough loss for Arizona State, but some bright spots as well with two of the freshman guards, Joe Sansen kind of having a bounce-back game with 18 points, and Trevor Best in his 5th collegiate game and really his biggest test to date, also had 18 points in this one and stepped up to the plate. What'd you like out of those two Sun Devil guards?
Yeah, I think with Jason Sanin, it's maybe kind of misleading. 18 points just in the matter of that he was 0-6 from beyond the arc. Now if you take those 6 3-point shot misses away, I think that the percentages look a whole lot better. But yeah, Sanin is absolutely somebody that needed a bounce-back game, I feel, in the worst way. This is only the 2nd game in conference play that he scored in double digits. Yes, he had the ankle injury, which ironically took place against BYU in Provo to open Big 12 play. I feel that since then he just wasn't the same player. I think the injury affected him. I think just hitting that freshman wall is something that affected him. So with Adam Miller being injured in the first half, coming back in the second half, I think Sanin felt that he needed to put more on his shoulders, and I think he did very well. And if you talk about somebody who really felt had to take that extra step, especially with expanded playing time, like I said, Trevor Best, hard to believe that this is a kid, and it is a kid who's not even 18 years old yet. Probably supposed to have his senior prom in a couple months over here. He reclassified to the 2024 class, as we know, arrived here in January. Very good friends with Jaden Quayton, so there's a connection over there that may or may not affect ASU positively in the future. But Trevor Best, just like Sanin, did score 18 points. Was really shooting it at a very high clip. 6-6 from the free throw line. I know that is something that's definitely going to put a smile on ASU fans' faces when you see the team usually struggling quite a bit from the charity stripe. I just felt that Trevor Best came in as exactly expected, as a hungry player that is just eager out there to prove himself. He was diving the balls. He was drawing offensive fouls. I was very, very impressed with what I saw from him. And I think that's definitely a good sign for what's left of this regular season. But just to see somebody who's developed quite a bit in just a couple of months, I think that was definitely an encouraging sign. I also remiss if I didn't say that Bashir Jihad was actually the leading scorer for Arizona State. Did score 19 points with the absence of Jaden Quayton, another player that really had to take more of a load on his shoulders. And I think he did pretty well in that department. I think and I saw fans online that really frustrated with Bashir Jihad not being able to defend the 3-point line all that well. But I think it's something you can really say about the entire ASU team, and not specifically just about him. We talked about Adam Miller. He was 3 of 4 from the 3-point range. Played only 13 minutes, but scored 11 points. It makes you wonder that if a healthy Adam Miller for the entire game, maybe ASU could actually pull out this upset. ASU actually tied BYU in the second half, each scoring 44 points. So really, the entire difference was that 10-point deficit that they went down to in the locker room. And again, Adam Miller being injured pretty early in the first half, I think really affected ASU quite a bit. So the absence of their veteran leader was definitely felt. But again, Justin, as you mentioned in the beginning, just ASU being so shorthanded, I just don't know what we could realistically expect from ASU to do on a night like this. But look, I think that the 10-point loss is actually really reflective of what we saw. This definitely wasn't the BYU team that was going to boat race to ASU like they did in Provo back on New Year's Eve. And I think that ASU, you definitely tip, like I said, the cap, for the way they fought. With all the adversity, with all that cloud hanging over them, Bobby Hurley had some curious comments saying that with all these injuries, maybe the universe is trying to tell him something. He says he doesn't know what he's going to wake up to tomorrow morning. Maybe some more adversity, maybe another injury. But really, all that aside, you just really feel bad, I think, for the team and for the players. Because it's just one blow to the face after another. A lot of chances, probably to give up and let BYU to turn this into a rout. Give credit for ASU, even though a team that doesn't play that well on their home floor, they didn't embarrass themselves on the home floor either.
Yeah, Holden, this is a bit weird to say, but ASU is a team that plays better on the road than they do at home. They've seen more success in road games this season now. They get set to head up to Utah for a Saturday evening tip. And this is a team that just dismissed its head coach in Craig Smith. So some dysfunction there potentially, and a chance for ASU to come out on top with another road win.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at all if ASU comes back from Utah with a win, because all but one conference win to date did take place on the road. I don't know if ASU feels more pressure over here at Desert Financial Arena or whatever the reason is, but some of the better games have definitely been on the road. And like you said, Utah is definitely a team that's going through some turmoil right now, dismissing their head coach just a few days ago. They played earlier tonight in Tucson and were soundly defeated there. So it's not like they're high stepping into this game with ASU on Saturday evening. But not to belabor the point, what is the health of ASU going to look like? Because that's really going to dictate a lot. I mean, again, we're expecting Adam Miller to be back, and probably Austin Mason to be back as well. But definitely not expecting Jaden Quaidens. Maybe wasn't an absence that was felt all that much against BYU. I mean, sure, it took a toll, but maybe not as much of a toll as I thought it would pregame. Maybe against Utah, that can be an absence that is sorely missed, especially compared to what we saw here tonight. But like I said, ASU does play very, very well on the road, and I do expect them to have better chances winning at Salt Lake City on Saturday versus winning in Tucson next week for the last road game in the regular season. But I think one thing, again, you can count on ASU that they're going to keep on fighting no matter how many players they do have on the rotation. And maybe freshmen like Sanan, like Best, can really transfer that confidence and that momentum that they took from this game to the game on Saturday. Adam Miller said after the game that they're going to keep on fighting, and it's not over until it's over. I know maybe one of the worst cliches out there, but again, I think it just really reflects the spirit of Arizona State. Doesn't take away from the fact that it's been a very, very disappointing season, a very underachieving season. But I think that if you're an ASU fan and we saw what you saw playing a ranked team and really just being with them toe to toe, at least in the second half, and just maybe a few defensive stops away of coming away with an upset, maybe can take some solace in that. But again, I know there's also seen as a moral victory, and the way ASU lost tonight doesn't really take away from the very, very disappointing season that it's been for the Sun Devils.
Well, thank you, Hod, for all your insight. Arizona State now gets set to head up to Utah to take on the Utes on Saturday. So stay tuned on all the coverage. Go to DevilsDigest.com. Follow Devils Digest on Twitter at Devils Digest. As always, I'm Justin Lacertosa. That's publisher Hod Rubino. We'll talk to you guys soon.